Hey, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to see how to make this vehicle go forward and reverse. So I can see now I'm going forward. The speed is displayed on the screen on the bottom left. I can brake and I can reverse. You can see the reverse is not fast. It's just the way I set up my speed for. So you can turn. You see the wheels are turning at the same time. And the camera is turning around the vehicle following the thread. So we're going to see exactly how to make this vehicle go forward and reverse. In our project, we're going to start by implementing the input action. So as you can see here, I already have a couple. I already created that in advance here, but I'm going to go through with you. So to create an action mapping, you just right click and you go input and you do an input action. So you're going to call your first one IA underscore vehicle underscore move underscore backward, and we're going to open it. And here, when it's we're in it, the action description will be backward. The value type will be changed for axis 1D, and you can save and exit. The other action mapping will be IA vehicle move forward. So right click, input, and add the input action. When it's created with a good name, we're going to go right in it. The action description will be forward, and the value type will be axis 1D. And we can save and exit. Now we're going to repeat the same process for the IA vehicle steering. So I'm just going to correct, there's a spelling mistake in it here. So same thing, we're going to do input action, and we're going to call that IA vehicle steering. We're going to open it, and it's going to be description for left and right, and the value type will be axis 1D. We can save and exit. Now we have all our control ready to go for our vehicle. Now that we have created all the action mapping, we need to put this in the mapping context that we have here. So we're going to open our my input mapping context. And here we're going to add, by clicking on the plus here, the move forward, backward, and the steering. So just click here, add, and you can select which one that you need. So we need the forward, backward, and steering wheel. So we're going to expand all of it. I can show you exactly what I've done. So the vehicle move forward will be W and the arrow key up. And you can see here there is no modifier or trigger. We're going to go for the backward. So we're going to put S and down for the arrow. And once more, if I expand this, there is no modifier for both of them. We're going to close it. And now we have the steering wheel. Here it's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to add A, D, left, and right. And here, if we expand all of that, we're going to see that A, because A it's left and left it's minus, so we need to add a modifier. So click on modifier, add an array, and it's going to give you an index, and you're going to put in the index negate. So you have a couple of option here. So just take the negate one, and you're going to be fine with that. And you're going to repeat the same process for right that we have right here. So actually it's not going to be on right here, so we're just going to delete this. It's going to be on left, so we're going to go add modifier, and we're going to put that right here. Perfect, and we're going to save that. Okay, now we're going to input our logic to make use of those action key. So we're going to go to our blueprint, and here it's all the logic for the free look. So we're just going to go under, and we're going to search for IA underscore vehicle, and we're going to select the forward one. And from that, we're going to take the cows vehicle here. So if you don't have this, you have two options. So you can try to add it like this with typing CAS, and you shall have CAS wheeled vehicle movement. If you don't, it's because you don't have the plugin installed. So you can go under Edit, Plugins, and you can search for CAS right here. And you're going to have CAS vehicle plugins. Just click here, and basically you're going to have to restart your engine and you'll be all set. So when you have that installed, you can take now the chaos vehicle wheel movement, just drag it on your board, drag from that, and we're gonna set our throttle, the throttle input, and we're gonna plug it to trigger, and we're gonna plug also the complete to it. And we're gonna repeat the same process for backward. So we're gonna search for IA underscore vehicle, and we're gonna take the backward. And same thing, we're going to drag from the chaos wheel vehicle, and we're gonna set, and now we're gonna set brakes, the brake inputs, and same, I'm gonna plug this to trigger and also to complete. So for both of them, make sure that we're plugging the action value to throttle and the action value to brakes here. So just to verify that all of that is working, so we're just going to drive from that, and we're going to add a print string. And on that print string, we're going to put FWD. I'm going to do another print string here, and this time it's going to be BWD for backward. And we're now going to do our steering, so just fire for IA underscore vehicle, and we're going to get the steering vehicle, so this one here. And same thing, this one will be very similar. So we're going to drive from our cast movement vehicle, and we're going to set, and we're setting our steering, set our steering input, trigger to trigger, complete, and also the action value. And now we're going to put also a print string. And if we want to see which one it's going to turn, which side, so we can drag from the action value and plug it directly to the string. So if we press A, it's going to display A. If we press D, it's going to display D. So if we compile and try this out, you're going to see in the top corner here, when I click, I'm going to have the input. So forward, backward, -1 for A, and plus for D. So you can see that the control are working, but the vehicle is not moving forward yet because we're not done, but the input action are all working properly. Now that we have our basic functionality in our master blueprint, so we can start creating some child blueprint of it. So if we have different vehicle that has 4 wheels, instead of redoing the code each time, instead of redoing, the movement here all the time, what we can do is by doing a child blueprint, all vehicle that has 4 wheels, we'll take that blueprint here, so we can just add functionality to this blueprint for that are similar to all our vehicle, and that way we're just saving a little bit of time in the code and we don't forget anything. So we're going to click on this master blueprint, and we're going to create a child blueprint class, and I'm going to call that BP underscore, and we're going to call that the same name as the vehicle that we're using in the master blueprint. So it's going to be the Oshkosh, and we're going to put that right there. So this one will be is child of this one. So all the code that we put in the master blueprint are now available in this one as well. So we're going to open our new blueprint. As you can see here, that's the same that we have here. So if we were going in our master blueprint and removing this, one example, and we compile, if we save all and we go back to the other one, you can see there is no more mesh in this one. Okay, so everything that you everything that you do on the master one is reflecting on this one here, but everything that you do in the child blueprint does not reflect to the master one. Okay, so it's why it's giving us the possibility to do special action for depending on the vehicle that we are using. So we're going to go on our child blueprint, and we're going to go to the mesh here, and we're going to select the skeleton mesh for our vehicle, so we can have our vehicle back. And if we go to the master blueprint and you go to viewport, you can see there's no vehicle. Okay, so we're going to go back to the child blueprint. So now we're going to start doing a little bit of code here, not code, but adding what we need for that vehicle. We're going to go here in the detail panel, and we're going to search for simulate physics, and we need to make sure that we're simulating physics on this vehicle. And we're going to compile. So now we have the physics on this child blueprint, which is perfect. Here we need to add some wheels. So we need to add the 4 wheels of the vehicle. So how we're going to do this? Well, we're going to click on the chaos wheel vehicle movement. And if you go here in the detail panel and you go down, you have wheel setup. So you're going to click 4 times on this to create 4 index. Okay. And it's where we're going to add the wheel that we need to control. So first, the wheel class, the 2 first one will be the front and the 2 others will be the rear. Okay. So we're going to click here on the plus to create a new blueprint. And I'm going to place my blueprint under my stuff right there. And I'm going to call that, it's going to be the chaos vehicle. So I'm going to put front chaos vehicle wheel, but it's going to be for the Oshkosh. So what we're going to do, we're just going to call this front Oshkosh, and it's going to be the front one. So now it's creating this blueprint for us. So we just have to change few value here. So the radius size for this vehicle will be 65, and we have the wheel here, so we're going to put 40, and we have also the stiffness here, so we're going to put, oh, actually first we're going to select the front wheel. So we have the radius, we have the width, and we have the cornering stiffness, so it's going to be 500. And we have the multiplier, we'll leave it as, we're going to put 4, and this will be 1, 20, and 20. So we're all good with this. That's perfect. So we're going to make sure that the effect by steering, we're going to check this, because those one will be the one that turn on the vehicle. So we need to make sure that we select this box and we can compile. We're going to go back to our blueprint, and we're going to select the front wheel for the second index, and we're going to repeat the same process for the rear. So just click on plus, or actually to make that a little bit, to save some time, so we could go to our stuff here and just duplicate this one, and we're going to rename it rear, and we're going to open it. So in the rear wheel here, so we're going to go to the axle type, and we're going to put rear, and those one will be affected by the brakes and the engine as well. And obviously the affected by steering, we're going to uncheck this, right? That's really important. And ABS enable, I'm not too sure what this is doing, so we're just going to click it and we're going to compile. Go back to our blueprint, and now we can select on index 2 the rear wheel, and on the index 3 the rear wheel, and we can compile. So now we have all our wheels set up, so we're all good. So we need to attach the bone that's going to be controlling that wheel. I mean, all those wheels. So we're going to go to our mesh here, and you can see here we have our skeleton mesh. So we're going to browse to it, and it's going to bring us there. So we're going to double click to open, give us access to all the bones, same as the first or third person character. So now it's all the bones for the vehicle. So we're looking for the front, so we can just search for front. So we have the left wheel front and the right wheel front. So we're going to start by the left front wheel. So we're going to copy that to get the exact name. We're going to go to our chaos movement wheel here, and we're going to paste this there. So we can paste that here for the index 1, and we can just change it for RT. And we're going to go back to, and now we're going to search for rear. It's going to give us access to all the rear wheels. So we're going to copy the left wheel for the back, and we're going to paste it right here. So we can paste it also in index 3 and just change the name for RT, and we can compile. So now we have all our wheels set up, and we should be almost ready to go to try this vehicle. Now we're going to set up the animation for this vehicle. So just before doing that, we're going to take our child blueprint and we're going to place it right there. So if you have your master class here, just make sure you search here in the outliner to make sure you remove it. So you're going to click on your vehicle and you're going to go to auto process and you're going to click to player 0. So make sure that we start with this character right from the start. And now if you do play, we're going to start with this character, but if you press, there is no movement yet. So we're going to go to the vision and content, the vehicle, and we're going to go to our vehicle here. And here, if you press on the skeleton mesh of this vehicle, if you right click on it, you can create a new anim blueprint for this vehicle. Okay, you can do it that way, or you can also just go in your folder that we have our vehicle in, and you can right click and just add a new animation. So you can click here on animation and click an animation blueprint. So it's what we're going to do. And now we can select the vehicle that we want to use. So in this case, we're using the Oshkosh. So we're going to take this, create. I'm going to call that ABP underscore Oshkosh, and I'm going to open it. Now here is going to be very simple. We need to change the anim instance class here. So you go click on class setting and the parent class here that you have, you can click here and you can select the vehicle anim instance and you can compile. So you can do it that way, or you could click on file and you can change the reparent blueprint and you can select the anim instance from here. So there's two places that you can do for changing the parent class. So now you can see that the parent class is changed on the top. Here we're going to do the little logic. So we're going to take our mesh space. So we're going to search for mesh space reference pose. That's referred to our vehicle here. We're going to drag from that and we're going to take the wheels. So because we need control for the wheels. And if you take that and just put it right here to the output, it should create automatically a component local for you and you can compile this. So we shall not have anything else to do in this animation blueprint. So we're going to pass to the next step. Now we're going to go in our vehicle and we're going to put the torque for our vehicle so we can have enough power to go forward. So we're going to go to our vehicle here. And this one is the master class. So we don't want to play in the master class. We want to play in the child blueprint. So we're going to open the child blueprint and we're going to open in full. And here we're going to go to the chaos vehicle wheels here. And we're going to go down here and we have the mechanical setup. It's where we're going to set up our curve for our power. So if you click here on torque, you should have access to a curve here. So we have our max torque of 300, max RPM 4500. So we need to remember this number because this number need to match in our curve here. And when we're idling is going to be at 1200 and there's other setting here. So if you want your brake, the affection, how your brake works, so you can put a different number here. So obviously we're just going to play a little bit in those settings to see exactly what we have to put because it's going to be case by case for each of the vehicle that you have in your game. So you're going to have to play with this. So first we're going to put, I'm going to change that for max torque. I'm going to leave it as is. So this one here, I'm going to change the brake to 1. And that's pretty much this. So we're going to create a curve here. So we're going to create external curve. And they ask you where you want to put your curve. So we're going to put it under my stuff. And I'm going to call it Oshkosh torque curve. I'm going to save it. So if you click now on the browse icon right here, it's going to bring you exactly where your torque curve is. Okay, here it's looking a little bit like a timeline. So we're going to right click on the line here. We're going to add a key. The first key will be starting at 0 and it's going to be 0.5. So if you click Control A and click here, it's going to zoom to your key. So we're going to add another key and the other key will be 3500 and it's going to be time 0.8. And now if you select all of that, Control A and click here, it's going to zoom to it. As you can see here, we have it there. We have both of there, so we can click here, and boop, it's zooming on them. So we can click to another one, and the other one will be our top. So 4,000, and we're gonna put maybe 0.1. So now we have our graph, so we can select all of that, all of them by doing Control A on the board and clicking here. So now we have our curve. So it's going to start at 0 times 5.5, I mean, 3,500 for the top RPM. And after that, it's going to be time 0.1 to reach 4,000. So we're going to save this. And I'm going to go back to our vehicle. Now we have our curve here, and you can play with those settings, obviously. There's something I forget somewhere. Let me check here. I think it's differential setup here. So you can set if your vehicle is rear wheel or four-wheel drive or front wheel. So you decide what you want, but you have to remember uh, we put the front wheel here. Remember here, affect by engine, those front wheel or not. So I want this vehicle to be four-wheel drive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this because I want this vehicle to be four-wheel drive. And we're going to go back to our vehicle. And now I can put four-wheel drive, and we're all good with that. So now the torque is set up, so you can click on those two. You're gonna see your torque here, so you can play with that to see how it's feel. That's just one that I did pretty quick. I don't want to pass too much time on that. So we're gonna compile, and we're gonna see on the next step. Now we need to use the Physic Asset to set up all wheels and all this for the vehicle. So you have one Physic Asset that already exists with this vehicle, or you can create a new one by clicking on the mesh itself, and you can create, and you can do a Physic Asset, and you can create a Physic Asset, and it's need to be assigned to this asset. So we're gonna do this one, and we're just gonna create it. And now we have our asset for our vehicle here. That's it's auto doing it for us. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna select all of that, and we're just gonna delete it because we don't want that. We're gonna click here, show all the bones. So we're gonna do it manually. So we're gonna right click on the root here, and we're gonna do on the detail panel here, we're gonna go to a box, and we're gonna disable the auto orientation bone, and we can generate the body here in the bottom corner. So now it's going to be very, very small. So we're just going to click on this one here. So we can expand that box. So let's do that now. So we can see that the box is coming along here. So here we go. So we have the box here. So we're just going to set up it to fit in the vehicle, something around those lines. And I'm going to put it up here. So I'm just going to go around, maybe a little bigger on the side. There you go, something like this should be fine. I'm not too picky on it. And we can save this. So now we need to select each of the wheels. There's the front wheel here. We're going to take the rear wheel, and we have the other front and the other rear. And we don't want a box. We're going to put that to a sphere. And we're going to make sure the auto orientation for the bone is checked on this one. And we're going to add to the body. Now for X reason, I select the wrong one here. So, oh, that's the suspension that I did. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to select the front wheel, which is this one here. Perfect. So I'm just going to repeat the same process here. So now we have all the wheels done, sphere all ready to go. So we're going to select all of it. So all of those wheels, and we don't want any collision on it. We're going to remove the collision. So collision enable, we're going to remove this. The reason why I'm removing the collision is because we don't use the collision. We use the here under my stuff. Remember the front wheel and rear wheel, it's what we're gonna use instead of using the collision for those sphere, okay? So we're gonna disable this, and the physic type, well, is gonna be kinetic, right? And we're gonna save it. So now I think we're all good with this. So I don't think so there's anything else to do in that. It's pretty basic setup. And we're gonna go back to our mesh here, our blueprint. I'm gonna click on the mesh for our vehicle. And now we need to assign the animation class. So we're just gonna click on this, and we have ABP, and we should have a scush right here. So we're gonna select this, and we're gonna compile. So now I go play, and technically I shall be able to move my vehicle. All right, so that's pretty good. So you see the vehicle is moving slowly because it's just a curve, right? So it's very slow, so we're gonna have to play with those number. But the vehicle is moving, so that's pretty good. It's exactly what we want. We're gonna pass to the next step. We're almost done. Now we're just gonna set up the map to be a little bit bigger. So we're gonna select all walls, and we're just gonna delete it. We're gonna take our floor, and we're just gonna expand our floor so we have a little bit more place to play with our vehicle. And we're gonna save all. Okay, so if we try this out and we do play, you're gonna see that we have the camera. You can see it's kind of snappy. I don't like that. So we're gonna make it with lag, so it's gonna look a little bit more natural. So we're gonna go to our master blueprint. We're gonna under the spring arm, and in the detail panel we have enable camera lag. So we're gonna do that for the rotation as well. And we're gonna compile, and now if we try it again, you can see it's way smoother when we move. So I prefer that way, so I'm gonna leave it as is. Also, if you drive your vehicle, you're gonna notice that your vehicle might do this when you turn right on its side. So we're gonna fix that. So it's because of your physic asset here. So maybe your box is too high, so I put it high on purpose to make sure it's doing this. So we're gonna bring that down here, something around this. So the box will touch the floor when we turn, so it's going to be way stable, way more stable. So let's try it out. So now if we press the gas and we turn, you can see that it's not going on its side right away. So that's exactly what we want. And obviously you're still able to do it depending on how you place your collision box. So you might be able to go on the side. Uh, so obviously it's depending on how you're gonna fix, gonna place this. So if I go here in perspective and go to the left, you see that I have the collision box. So I can adjust that right under. So I'm gonna make sure it's not snappy anymore. Oops, not a good one. So there we go. So right there, and maybe just a little bit smaller. There we go, something like this. And we're gonna save, and we're gonna go back to perspective, and let's see if it's a little bit better. So there we go. We have more movement on the vehicle. You're still able to put it on the side, but it's a little bit harder to do. So yeah, I think it's pretty much this. So we have the camera at its face. The vehicle is driving correctly. You can even drive it with the arrow on your keyboard if you want to. So that's perfect. So I will catch you on the next one, and thank you for watching.